Welcome into the third episode of Meet Your Alderman. My name is Jon Zaghloul, our communications manager. Great to have you here as we continue this series. This month, we're talking with one of the newer members of the Aurora City Council as we take a trip down memory lane and recount his amazing career at City Hall, plus look to the future and his goals for the city's first ward. He's a 35-year City Hall veteran and retired as the city's Chief Community Services Officer, plus served as a school board member for East Aurora School District 131. Today, he's the city's first ward alderman, serving on the Rules, Administration, and Procedures Committee, as well as the Finance Committee. Let's welcome Alderman Dan Barreiro to Meet Your Alderman. Alderman Barreiro, it's great to have you on. How are you?
Thank you, John, for the great introduction.
Well, you have a lengthy resume and certainly a history here at City Hall. How's it feel to be back inside City Hall as an alderman?
I'm getting used to it. It was being a staffer, I was on the other side, and it was different. But now being an alderman, there's a different perspective to being an alderman and voting on issues, because you're listening to the residents. They reach out to you, and you figure out what their concerns are. So it's a little different perspective, So it's but it's rewarding.
What have you learned as an alderman that maybe you didn't know before as a city staffer?
That's interesting. Well, I would say that I really get to understand the issues of the residents at a deeper level. As a staffer, you hear about stuff and you hear about some of the issues, but I have residents that'll reach out to me and I'll talk to them for an hour, and then they'll call me back and they'll follow up, and you really get a understanding of what's important to people and why these things matter. Being a city staffer, those things came across your way and you understood what they were, but it's just a much deeper level and really connecting with people differently.
I would assume as a city staffer, though, the institutional knowledge that you accumulated from 35 years being here certainly helps you now as an alderman, too.
Yes. I would say that is a huge benefit, being a city staffer. Working on different projects, work with, the process of getting a project going from the beginning to the end, and, working with architects and the whole procurement process, getting the item budgeted and funded, and, trying to get grants for them. So I understand that. And then having worked on the city budget for, I think, 8 of them, I think I understand the city budget and what goes behind putting that together. And so there's a lot of things there that help. Being in HR also is helpful when we're hiring and those kinds of things. So it's a wide range of things, but overall I think it's a great benefit.
What was your favorite role to serve in when you were here at the city? Because you mentioned a number of different roles that you were in. Was there a favorite one or a specific one that you enjoyed more than others?
I enjoyed being in the mayor's office, under 2 different mayors. And I enjoyed that because you were in the middle of everything, kind of the spoke in the wheel, and everything runs through the mayor's office, and being connected with the community, doing the outreach and going to different places. I enjoyed that part of it. But I also enjoyed, getting deep into the nitty-gritty of things, right? Being deep into putting a budget together, as an example. But I found it more enjoyable working with the public, interacting with the community.
And I would assume that partially prompted you to step up and become the Ward 1 Alderman. What else prompted you to step up for this role after retiring from the city?
Well, I've always been involved since high school in the community, and that didn't stop, from East High, NIU to, working here at the city. Very quickly, people, they latch on to you and say, hey, you want to join this? We need your help. And then you're in the exchange club, and then you join other, and it just keeps mushrooming, But I enjoyed that. And then I served on the Fox Lake Park District as a trustee, And I enjoyed that. I really did. Being part of a award-winning organization that has a huge impact on the quality of life of the community. I really enjoyed that. When I served on the school board, I didn't get to finish my term because of my appointment. But 11 and a half years on the school board, I had invested a lot of time and energy and just trying to help improve my alma mater, and benefit make positive changes for the benefit of students. So that was really rewarding. And the alderman's position, that was not on my radar. I didn't think about that. It wasn't anything I was thinking about. I was content being on the Board of Education, but there was a vacancy, and I was nudged by a few people and thought about it, and it made sense to try it. So here I am.
And you won your first election. It was an unexpired 2-year term, so you've not only been appointed, but now you've run for an election and you've won. What did you learn in that process running for a city office?
I learned that you have to be humble, because I'm here only because of the voters, the community, trying to, give back to the community, all these years, and then having that recognized by the community in the way of sending me back here, I think is rewarding. So I would say that to me, that's the most rewarding part of it, and trying to be humble and still being grounded as to, why am I here? What is my role as the alderman?
Alderman Dan Barreiro joining us here on the 3rd episode of Meet Your Alderman. My name is Jon Zaghloul, our communications manager. Great to have all of you here with us. And Alderman, let's get into the priorities for Ward 1. Ward 1, obviously a sprawling ward. It stretches through a big part of the city. What are some of your bigger priorities for the ward now that you're in office?
Right. So have you heard that expression that we stand on the shoulders of giants?
Yes, I have.
Well, you find out very quickly that, a lot of these issues, they just didn't happen the minute you became the alderman. A lot of the issues have been there for years, and have, like I can say, many different aldermen have become aware of these issues over time. And so from that perspective, I like to try to move the ball forward, with some of those issues, because it sometimes these issues don't get done with one term. And so I like to finish some of the things that were started, and be able to complete those for the benefit of the residents of the ward. So for example, Garfield Park is on the books to get renovated. The city had budgeted for a grant, and then unfortunately there was no funding for the renovation in the budget. Also, the city applied for a second grant, which was not received. So then the goal was to work with engineering to pare it down, and parks, and pare it down to see what we can do with the money that we have. So the city's going to match a $600,000 grant, so $1.2 million. I have a meeting coming up with the ward committee. I have a ward committee that I run past the expenditures for the Ward 1, and so hoping to get some extra dollars to add to the things that can be done for the park. So I'm also had run into a young lady who has her own not-for-profit, Your Foot, My Foot Foundation. She's a professional soccer player, and she approached me about if there'd be any interest in partnering with her, because she's looking to do a soccer pitch, to serve at-risk youth. So that was like a perfect opportunity. So we're working with her to make that happen. And so I don't know if you are familiar with the portable soccer field that we have. So it'd be similar to that in size, but the only difference is it would be permanent over at Garfield Park. So we're trying to add back some more things that we're not going to be able to get done with the money that we have. So that's an example of something that wasn't started under me. Began under Alderman Lamas, and I'm just trying to get some of these things accomplished.
Garfield Park's a great example. That is a legacy park here in Aurora. It is a fixture in Ward 1. So to see something moving forward with that should be encouraging for Ward 1 residents at the least.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think everybody's excited when they saw the master plan and all the different things that were going to be included in the newly renovated park.
Are there any challenges that you feel like you're facing right now as the Ward 1 Alderman? Anything specific that comes to mind?
Challenges. Well, I would say this: when I retired, wasn't that long ago, I could walk down the hallway and I knew just about everybody. Now I walk around here and there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new people, and so I think that's one of the challenges that I'm seeing. A lot of new people, things. People are learning the ropes and getting used to the new positions. So from the mayor's office on down. And so that takes some time, and then so I'm hopeful that those things will pick up in terms of issues getting addressed. So as the alderman, I'm very sensitive to when I put in an issue or request and the amount of time it might take, because I know the residents are they would like it done sooner than later.
Well, I think that gives you an advantage, though, too, because at least from a departmental perspective, even though there have been changes to personnel, you worked here for 35 years, you kind of know the pecking order. So it probably gives you an advantage over a lot of other people when it comes to putting in requests, especially on behalf of residents, because you know how the city operates and how it functions at its inner core.
It's been helpful, yes. And I'll be, just to be fair, a lot of times, most of the time, things get taken care of very quickly. I put in a request yesterday, and then I sent an email to the resident and let him know that I had to put it through and two different ways, because just in case. And he responded early this morning and said, "Thank you, they were out yesterday."
Wow.
So I need to make sure I thank the staff a lot more.
How important would you say is that sort of two-way communication between yourself and the residents? Because you brought up a great example right there. Somebody comes to you with a complaint, you do your best to escalate it, and then you respond saying, "Hey, it's done." And they respond too and confirm. How important is that dialogue between you and your constituents when it comes to getting things done in Ward 1?
It's important because on the one hand, I hear more from people that, "Hey, my issue isn't done yet. What's going on with it? What's taking so long?" And I would like to hear more from people that where they're happy camper. It got done the same day or the next day, and just to put things into perspective, so that it kind of, I think, balances things out. On the other hand, when you do have issues that aren't resolved very quickly, to me that's a sign for maybe we need to put more resources into that area. So fortunately, I'm on the finance committee. And so I'm always looking for those connections. So during the budget process, I pick up on, how can we do a better job addressing some of these issues through the budget.
Especially talking about communication, I know you brought a prop here today, which is
yes.
really cool. You're the first guest to bring a prop. So tell me about what this is in your hand.
Yes. So this is my Ward 1 book.
Okay.
And I still have a few pages left, but I take this everywhere I go when I'm meeting with residents. So whether it's a neighborhood group meeting, I attend 2 of those regularly, monthly, or whether I'm going to an HOA meeting. Usually it's like once a year that they invite me to different ones, or if I have my own Ward 1 community meetings. I have 2 of those a year, and also I'm having my first coffee with the alderman this Saturday. So I take it to events, and I write down issues, and I put them in this book, and I number them so I can keep track of them. And then I try to, I follow up on these, and I got check mark by those that are done. There's quite a few that aren't done, but I realize that some of those are going to take more time, and but they are it's on the board, so to speak, and I'm going to keep at it until those get done if possible.
You mentioned it's organized numerically, so is that you go to one meeting, you just create a new page number, then you write stuff down from that meeting, or how do you kind of organize it?
I just keep adding to it, you
Okay.
know, and I don't skip pages because I want to run out of pages, you know. But like I said, I also have in here different constituents' names and phone numbers in here. I have my contact information for my ward committee, you know, have contact information for the neighborhood group leaders, you know, so I keep it all here so I can, you know, make sure I can reach the people I need to reach.
So this is like the heart of Ward 1 in the palm of your hand.
Right here, yeah.
Everything that you need is in that book. And I think that's really interesting. I've never seen anybody don a Ward 1 book or a Ward book per se. I think it speaks again to that two-way communication, your ability to interact with residents, write things down, have it there, and then refer back to it and try to help them out.
Yes. So it's kind of like, you know, in these times, right, we get text messages, right? So they're on my phone. We get emails. And so those emails, like I put them in different folders, and then I got to go, you know, try to find them. But at least with this, you know, if I don't have my laptop with me, you know, I just grab this and look for that item. And so it's helpful because that not only are the issues in here, but the people that brought that issue to my attention, they're in here as well, what, you know, their contact information. So if I need to reach out to them, I can.
It's a fascinating book. I appreciate you bringing it. And it really makes me think about, because we talked about already things that you want to see get done and constituents' concerns and things of that nature. Is there one specific thing you really want to see get done while you're in office?
Oh, boy. So when you ask that question, there's I guess, two tracks. And I always thought about being the alderman. I'm here for the residents. So obviously, as you saw, there's quite a lot that residents are passionate about, because those issues are important to them. So I want to continue that. But I do have some things that are priority to me, and I would like to you know, spend more time on those. And also being an alderman, I got to see how I can make that happen, working with the mayor's office and the mayor's office staff, you know. So, for example, the corridors, improving corridors, gateways to the community is important. I think we need to be able to do more, and I need help in that regards through the mayor's office and the different departments. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. But to me, it's about image, and how do we put Aurora in a better light by improving those gateways, you know, to the community. Ward 1 is, you know, we have Broadway, we have Butterfield, we have Farnsworth, Indian Trails. We have quite a few of those gateways, and I think that to me is a you know, priority for me. Also, there's some programs that I have that I like to get more utilization out of those. One of them is a program that was started by my predecessor, Alderman Lamas, and I think we've had it with even before Alderman Lamas, you know, with some of the other aldermen, going back, I think, to Tina Bowman and Abby Schuler, and that's a grant program for businesses to help them. And so that's something I want to be able to help out some businesses with that.
Alderman Dan Barreiro still joining us here on Meet Your Alderman. And Alderman, just a few more questions before we finish up. Wanted to ask more about Ward 1, because you've been a longtime resident of Ward 1, and this precedes your time certainly as Alderman. What's one of your favorite parts about living in the First Ward?
It's my stomping grounds.
That counts.
I think I lived in Ward 1, over 40 years. You know, you know, attended 2 different churches within the ward. You know, went to school and in the ward. Lived in 3 different neighborhoods in the ward, so I'm familiar with it. It's kind of funny. I was at the ribbon cutting ceremony for Station 13, and I made a comment about when I was in high school. You know, I used to, you know, I was in cross country, and I used to run down Mitchell Road, over across on Butterfield, and then back on Farnsworth. You know, I said back to town, because when you were out there was hardly anything out there but Marmion. And fast forward, and you see all these new things. And so, going back to when I was in high school growing up to now, I mean, we have so many new things that are part of the heartbeat of the community. And those things are in Ward 1, starting from the Roundhouse, Rivers Edge Park. We got the post office, we have the transportation center, we have the police station, we have the the premium outlet mall. We're gonna have the new casino. We have Banana Split. We have a lot of things that are speaking of a lot of things that are infamous. Achin Lou's Pizza. So just the list is just enormous as to all the great things that are in Ward 1. And as you mentioned before, the one of the legacy parks, Garfield Park, and we also have some great Park District parks as well that are part of Ward 1. So yeah, there's a lot of great things at Ward 1.
Being a longtime resident of Ward 1, as you've stated, what does it mean to you now to be the voice of that ward? It's your stomping grounds, and now you're representing that ward at the city level. What's that mean to you?
It's great. It can be intimidating. I think some of these events that you go that are held in Ward 1, there's people that come to them that I grew up with, or the parents of somebody I grew up with, neighbors, people I go to church with, or there's different connections, right? So it's kind of I'm just a regular person, but I mean, when you become the alderman, then you're like, whoa, and it just puts everything into perspective. So yeah, it's kind of neat.
How bright do you see your ward's future being?
I think Ward 1 is in a good spot, but I think we have a lot of potential to be even better. No question about it. Yeah.
Alderman, last question here before we finish up. Has there been a funny moment or an unexpected moment that you'd like to share from your time in office so far?
Oh boy. Now you did throw me a curveball. You said no curveballs.
Is there anything that stands out though?
I can't think of one, but I know they're out there. I try to have fun. I mean, there's a lot of pressure sometimes, but I do try to have fun, and I guess maybe this is not a big deal, but a lot of times I'll go somewhere, and I'm going to a meeting, and you're checking in, you're signing in your name, and some friend of mine who's one of the organizers of the neighborhood group says, "Hey, Danny boy, how's it going?" Just like I said, you can't go anywhere without knowing somebody that you've known, for a long time, and they call you, they don't call you Alderman, they call you Danny boy.
You'll always be Alderman to me, but Danny boy, I've also heard Dan the Man. I heard people used to call you Dan the Man when you worked here too, if that's true.
That's the high school crowd, yeah.
Okay, the high school crowd. All right. Well, you're Alderman Barreiro
or Danny
now.
B, and So if you hear these things, those are people that have been around a while.
We're all talking about the same person.
Right.
It's Alderman Dan Barreiro here with us on the third episode of Meet Your Alderman. Alderman, thank you so much for joining us. This was a great conversation. Looking forward to continuing the conversation, seeing all the great things you do in the First Ward.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time on the next episode of Meet Your Alderman. So long.